Here we go.
Okay, dokie. So, in the top, we do have none other than the Zerg player, Jamesykins.
Yep. Playing for Team Infused.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure enough. And in the bottom, we do have Underdark. What does that abbreviation stand for, sir?
What, NRS? NRS, is that what you mean?
Yep.
It's Neurosoft. It's the same team as Wellmu, Crass, White.
Oh, all right. Now I know.
Yeah,
It's
I didn't know it was Neurosoft. But they, they're a pretty decent team. They're not massively high up there, but they've got some good players. Players that play in a lot of online tournaments. Like White. White is probably their most known player. Crass is pretty good. He has been to the last two UK tournaments, the ESET ones, where he got second at I-47 and of course got his seed into the I-48, where I don't believe, got out of groups. But he's still super cool, good player, and they're a really happy bunch of guys from what I can tell. Oh, they have Rompson as well, who is awesome. I love Rompson.
so not really all that much known team, but a
No.
very good team nonetheless. And already I see something very interesting. Underdark's own take on how to forge fast expand. He waits with the scout until he can put down a 13 forge, which is really safe versus early pulls, something like an
Yes.
8 pull, 7 pull, something like that, and then goes to scout. So he still gets in time to block the hatch first. The hatch normal timing, and he will see that the pull is well underway. If he cared to stay around, he would have maybe tried to block the hatch, but knowing the pull timing and the gas timing possibly is of more importance to him, and rightly so. We do have the Nexus on the way, so nothing out of the ordinary, and we can see Underdark immediately going to go hide his probe away so that he can check for the third base later on. Now the question every Protoss is asking of himself once he sees the Zerglings run past is, do I go back and check the gases and risk losing my probe, or do I not go back and just try to make a good read?
Pretty much. He will go for the scout in the third, but the problem is, he'll want to scout the third because you're right. If you go for the gas scout, you're normally not gonna get away with your probe. With Queens do have the increased range. They're faster, or actually they're pretty fast on creep, and the scout on the third is much more important. He might go for the scout into the main after that, but of course he is getting chased by Zerglings. Zerglings will benefit from the speed increase on creep. So running into the main is really, really not a good chance. Like before, up until the Queen buff, it was fine. You could do it no problem, pretty much. You get this scout, very unlikely that you get away. But these days, it's so hard because there's the Queen in the natural that picks you off before the ramp, and then there's normally one in the main that will be ready to finish the probe off. So you rarely get the scout, which is really unfortunate. And it's just revolving a lot on game sense, pretty much.
And what a hero probe. It actually made it all the way back with only 5 hit points and 0 shield.
It's like a lot of people don't realize how much, like, you need at least like 3 Zerglings to really get a probe from the third. 2 or anything like that, it should survive depending on if it takes any damage before it gets the scout. Like in the last game on Daybreak that we saw, like the probe took like 4 hits at the watchtower before it got the scout. So if that's the case, it's not going to get back home. So it comes down to reactions. We do have a Stalker now being produced, of course. Stalker is a good choice, especially with the Mothership Core, as he can go across the map, pressure, and not have to worry about any Zerglings and stuff like that, because he just gets the free kills. There is one at the watchtower, and
we do see Jamesykins already pulling back all of his Zerglings because he knows what is coming. He knows this will be a Zealot Stalker Mothership Core pressure that is designed to, as the Zealot is already wailing here at the third, that is designed to kill at least a Queen or maybe a drone. But with 4 Zerglings and 2 Queens, this is not going to do all that much. It did force some additional Zerglings being made instead of drones. That is true. And the most important unit in this, of course, is the Mothership Core. Does not even have enough energy for a mass recall. Nice micro there by Underdark. Got rid of all of the Zerglings, and now he can proceed and try his hand at the Queen, but will not be doing so. Instead, he's just building 3 additional gateways while going for the Robo facility at the same time. So just scaring Jamesykins a little bit. Jamesykins getting his Roach Warren, getting his Evo Chamber, getting his speed. Everything looks to be normal, and we shall wait until this layer finishes to see what his textures will be. I wouldn't be surprised to see Roach Hydra on this map, to be honest.
Oh, he's not going to get that Overload now, and the Stalker has to be very careful. It can't get surrounded. Now, here's a little interesting fact for you. Queens on creep are faster than a Mothership Core, so they can infinitely kite it while on creep. Once they're off creep, though, they are slower. So if anyone's wondering, if you're chasing a Mothership Core, if it's out of range by the time your Queen gets off creep, you're not going to kill it. But if there's a lot of creep, continue chasing it because you actually get the kill. And it's really interesting how that works out. Now, I thought this was going to happen. The build that we're seeing is not... it's a macro-oriented build. As we can see, the probe is at the 3rd. So a Nexus will be dropped there. But 4 gateways is just enough for a Warp Prism harassment, pretty much. So we do have a Warp Prism. And this is actually a build that you will see me do a lot. This has been scouted, as Jamesykins is looking at his units. So he should be able to react accordingly. And hopefully not take too much damage from this attack.
Beautiful force field there, saving the one and only probe at the 3rd. It always is a... it angers Protoss very much if the Zerg can get that one probe and you have to bring another one from the natural. Your cannons don't really finish building all that well. But behind this we do have a Twilight Council. I can't imagine this can be for anything else but to continue the +1 attack or the attack upgrades as the +1 is nearing completion. Twilight Council not exactly timed absolutely correctly. But all these sentries and the Stalker get surrounded. This is not a very good situation for Underdark, but he's trying to make the best of it. But all the sentries, I fear, will fall, and this will make the 3rd very, very, very vulnerable. And I think Underdark will have to pull back.
Cancelled. Yeah, absolutely, and that was a really big mistake. A lot of sentries going down there. The Immortal getting targeted down. Will it survive? Yes. Just about to... Nexus does finish up. As we can see, the Roaches' speed does finish, so they can catch up to the Immortal and clean it up. Overcharge gets dropped onto the Nexus. Great call there to keep that alive and protected, but there's still so many Roaches that he has to be very, very careful. As we can see, there's a ridiculous amount of units, Zerglings and stuff streaming across the map. 4
Tillings have just been produced, and once the core goes down, there will be no more sentries. Can he warp in some before it goes down? No, he cannot. And that was the last force field, I do believe, that Underdark had.
Oh, there we are. The last sentry does get picked off. It had enough energy for a force field, but of course it doesn't anymore as it is killed off. And I think we're going to see Underdark get forced out of the game. Probes are coming off the line, so Jamesykins is definitely earning himself an advantage. His supply isn't that high, as he does have quite a large bank. What's his... Okay, he has like 1 lava, that's why. So he is going for the Nexus, but he's not going to actually have enough to clean it up. And that was a bit of a mistake. There, he wanted to go for the kill instead of getting guaranteed damage, which is like the Nexus kill. And that could come back to bite him in the ass, as I don't think he's going to get it now. There's a lot of Zealots, like there's a lot of Zerglings as well, but with the Immortals, with the Mothership Core, I think this is going to get cleaned up. One
yes,
more
it is.
getting taken out, but there's still not enough damage.
I think all of this will survive, actually, even the Immortal.
Yeah,
and now the thing is that not getting that Nexus, not killing it, if we look at the Worker tab, 49 drones versus 54 probes, the Protoss is not in such a bad shape as some might have guessed. Sure, he lost all that gas, he lost all those sentries, but he does have the Robo. He can, at least for the time being, defend the 3rd base. He just warped in a fresh round of sentries. All he has to do is not let these lings run by!
Oh, that's such a big deal. That was the only thing that he couldn't do, because I felt like Jamesykins was actually falling behind, but now the probes will be killed, and that will even things up massively. And it looks like Jamesykins is going to try and take advantage of some multitasking here as these Roaches, Zerglings run towards the 3rd. There is 3 cannons in Immortal, so I don't see it working out too well. And there's so much damage being dealt into the main base. The Twilight is getting targeted down. Blink gets cancelled. No more +2 weapons attack as well, and probes are even fighting this. 12 worker kills so far. All the Immortals are now at the third, and they will clean up the little attack down here. Absolutely no problem.
And behind this, we do have the +2 ranged attack going down for the Zerg. We have the Enduring Locusts being researched as well. Now, this was a really unfortunate set of events.
The Queen's in the center of the map.
What
There's
the?
2 of them.
Oh my goodness!
That's a total misclick. That is such a big.
Oh, now Jamesykins realizes and he pulls back. Now this was an unfortunate set of circumstances for Underdark, because just as he had warped in those 5 fresh sentries at the third to defend it, is when the run-by happened, and all the gateways were on cooldown. He couldn't warp in anything to block the choke, to warp in Zealots at the main, and now we see Jamesykins taking a 4th base, and once this swarm host count starts rising, it will be progressively more and more difficult for Underdark to keep his 2nd and 3rd bases alive. Yes, the Robo Bay is finishing just now. Yes, he's not that far behind in workers for what he needs to be constructing, but he needs another Robo, and he will need Templar Archives relatively soon, because a natural transition into Vipers is possible late game, especially with the gases from the 4th base.
Yeah, and it's just, interestingly enough, we have another lair in production as opposed to a hive, so I don't know what that's about, but yeah.
Maybe he just... Oh, there goes the cancel. Now he realizes his mistake.
Yeah. There we are, so that's very good. And, you know, we do have 5, 6 swarm hosts, which is getting quite big. We have queens, of course, which can protect them against any anti-air. Hydras are even on the map now, so a lot of DPS can be done. But if you look at the supplies, it's 130 v 140, so Jamesykins isn't really that far ahead. And a lot of it was down to his injects. He didn't really have much lava, and even now he could inject his main, his natural, even his 3rd is done. But we could have some more injects. There is a War Prism coming in towards the main, so this might do some good damage if Jamesykins is slow to react, and he has so many warp gates. They can warp in 8 Zealots in a single go. The units now reacting, so nice reaction.
Oh, if you can actually take down this lair, that would be huge as hell, because it delays all the other attack. Underdark is going for so much, but I do not think that will happen. The Zealots are falling like flies. It's really close.
That's cleaned up. That was so close. Where are the 2 queens with all the energy? They could run in and transfuse. Yeah, it looks like they will. And there's one coming up. The second one is incoming. Of course, he wants to keep this alive to protect it.
Yeah, because he knows the War Prism survived. He knows he did not take it down. So, 1 or 2 Zealots, if he did not transfuse, 1 or 2 Zealots warped in from that War Prism, or even warped in here and then dropped inside the main, could have finished the lair off. And this is exactly what Underdark is thinking. He's going in. He doesn't know that the lair is. Oh! The warping does not finish.
He was actually going for a big warp-in of DTs then, which would have been really nice. Personally, I think he should have warped them in outside and then dropped them, because it wouldn't have been so bad. Now these Overseers will spot all these high Templars, so these DTs, so that was very cost efficient. 3 DTs is quite a lot. We do have 12 swarm hosts about to move towards the 4th base of the Protoss, and the Protoss is moving around towards the Zerg's 4th base, so this is going to be really interesting. Now there are 4 Immortals, 2 Colossus, a lot of sentries, and the 3rd Colossus.
Force fields have to be absolutely impeccable here. If he can zone out the Hydras, he may take out this 4th base before the Locusts arrive, but he has to be quick about it. And there it goes. Nice move right there by Underdark. And now I think he will be retreating, because this army, without the force fields and with the Locusts in play, it cannot stand against this force. He definitely needs more Colossi and Storm to supplement this.
Definitely.
But that was a really good move, taking out that 4th base, evening out the game.
It was, and his opponent's army was really close, so he had some very nice positioning to take advantage of that. I tell you what would have been cool if Jamesykins brought everything back apart from the swarm hosts and rallied the swarm hosts to the center from his opponent's side of the map. He could have maybe sandwiched his opponent's units and got a good trade, but he didn't go for it. And we do have these swarm hosts slowly coming across the map. They're not really that close to his opponent's base, so they're nearly getting killed off, like expiring before they do any damage. But here it comes, round number 2 of this attack. Swarm host burrowing, lots of locusts, not that many force fields, a lot of ground units getting taken out, and this is going to be such a close fight.
Oh, I think this is going to be quite decisive in Underdark's favor. Once he gets rid of all the Hydras, you know, there are only Locusts to deal with, and he's got just... Oh my god, the army is a move command! No! Underdark, what are you doing?
So much damage, one immortal need getting taken out there, a lot of them on very, very low health. Thankfully, none of the Colossus got taken out either. A huge whooping of Stalkers. The supplies are pretty much dead even. What are the upgrades? Okay, he has +3, which is really good because of course Colossus doing the splash. And did he have... He doesn't actually have an observer with his army, so that maybe that's why he pulled back, because...
Yeah, he couldn't kill the swarm hosts off, but now we have the first Vipers in production. I'd say the Zerg is a little bit starved for gas. We have a 5th base coming up for the Protoss. The Zerg is starting to fall apart a little bit here, perhaps relying on the Locusts and the Swarm hosts a little bit too much. But also it is true that without those abducts, he cannot really engage this army head-on. He needs to turtle hard with the Swarm hosts until he can get enough energy. But Underdark, he's not going to give him that leisure. He's attacking right now. He is at +3, which means this Zerg army will be falling really fast.
And a blink forward gets one of the Vipers. And Yoink comes down to one of the Colossus. That does get a vaporized. But there's just so much damage output that Jamesykins can't deal with it. There is observers with here, so the the Swarm hosts will get killed off. And I think we should see GG any second, as there's no way for Jamesykins to act this back.
No, and his resources are dwindling as well. He's trying to remax on Hydras and Roaches, but it's not going to be enough. Only two Swarm hosts remaining holding the ramp, but they are going to be falling really quickly here. And you know, Underdark, he can just sweep through all the bases right now, because Jamesykins, he will not be able to mass a big enough army. And there we go, some sort of BM into GG, into 1-0 for